Hi guys, I feel a little out of my comfort zone right now because I'm actually filming in my bathroom. It's pretty late and there's no lighting in my house that's good enough to film a video when it's dark, pretty much, unless I get James to help rig it up with this like whole professional lighting experience that he knows. So I'm still sick right now. Now I've given in to James. I'm so ready to get rid of this, and I see other people on Twitter are sick and I just feel like the germs are just spreading through Twitter. So I got inspired to film this because I was cruising YouTube videos. Usually when I'm sick I cruise YouTube and do my nails. I thought I would be a little bit productive and turn that YouTube watching into YouTube making, because I was watching Trisha Paytas, who is Blonde Sundoll for MJ on YouTube. She's sort of a controversial figure on YouTube for being fabulous and dressing provocatively and coming across sometimes as sort of a bimbo, but I think, like her or hate her, you should not underestimate her. I can tell that there's somebody pretty smart who also loves having lots of big fake blonde hair and fake boobs and all that stuff, and I really think that there's nothing wrong with that, and people will say, oh, that's anti-feminist, and I think that those people need to revise what they think feminism is. Because calling out another woman is not feminist. But anyway, so she did a video about her stalker story. I don't have a 100% stalker story, like nobody, saved my tissues or anything like that. I do have my own experience that's sort of related, and this was a few years ago, and at the time I was really frustrated because I wasn't exactly sure what to do, and I thought that this could be something that would be useful for lots of different people, but especially young girls, and sometimes I try to take inspiration in what YouTube videos I need to make based on what I want my sister to know. So, well, this video is just going to be me coughing, basically. I think it's important for young girls who are transitioning over into the adult world to feel like at least maybe they've talked about this with a friend, and I want to be a friend to you guys, and that this is something that they've sort of thought through, because when this happened to me, I had not thought through what it would look like, because when a guy is overstepping his boundaries with you, they don't do it in the most obvious ways, especially if it's someone who is older, as my stalker was. They've had a lot of experience with this, and they also know that young girls don't have experience with it, and I think that's how they get away with a lot of things. I was raised in the South by not proper Southern ladies, because I wouldn't say that my family is proper, but something that pervades in a lot of female culture, but especially in Southern female culture, is that it's very important to always be nice. Rather than make someone else feel uncomfortable or put someone out, you should always act nice and be the hostess. There's a big difference between being nice and being kind, and I, in the past 2 years, have sort of been realizing that that niceness that I thought was important, it doesn't really serve me, and a lot of people thought that they could walk over me in business, in relationships, like I'll tell you in this example, a lot of different things, and I've come to be a lot more firm, and I'm a pretty good judge of character, so I try to recognize when it's important to be kind, and nice can go along with that, and when it's important to show that you can't be walked over. As a result of that niceness, as I moved into the adult world and into college, I came across a few things that I most likely could have put a stop to. In most situations, it wasn't like there was a guy who was a stalker or even a predator or anything, it's just that they mistook my niceness for liking them, and it put me in a lot of weird situations. People following me to my court where my dorm was, and asking my roommate when I was going to get back, and all kinds of weird stuff. A couple of years ago, I joined a tango studio. I was really interested, and I still am interested, in all types of ballroom dance and Latin dance, and I had some time, so I wanted to learn tango. I absolutely love it, and I definitely want to continue my learning. And tango it's a really sexy dance. It's got amazing music and it's really fun to do. But just because it's a sexy dance about two people, it doesn't mean that anyone that goes there should feel like they are up on a meat rack. So my battery actually just died, and I had to wait like an hour for it to charge up. So I went on YouNow and hung out with a bunch of you guys, and it's so awesome just getting to go on there and talk to people, especially when you're sick and you can get to feeling so lonely, to get to chat with people on there. So I was mentioning about the video I was making, and a couple of people said it would be really useful. So that makes me feel really great, and I really hope that if this helps you, you'll share it with all of your girlfriends and stuff. I think it's something that really needs to be shared because it happens all the time, and we just don't get prepared for it. You should be able to go to a dance class, a country kitchen buffet, even a freaking pole dancing class, a nudist colony. You should be able to go anywhere without having to worry about somebody giving you unwanted attention and taking it farther than they know would be appropriate. However, that's not how our world is, and almost no matter what you wear, you're going to get unwanted attention, and you should be able to wear anything you want, including walking down the street naked. You have every right to do that. And just being a girl in this world is enough to get somebody to give you that attention no matter what you're wearing. So it's really good to even kind of fake practice with yourself a little bit what you would do if a situation presented itself. So what happened to me was I got partnered up with this guy for dance because I'm really tall. I'm 5'9.5", and he was the only tall guy there, supposedly. Oh, I used to know his age. I used to know his age exactly because it was so disturbing to me. I think he was 63. Okay, so my partner was 63. He was not an evil person, I wouldn't say, but I also think that, and many men do this, that take advantage of you in these situations, they make you think that they're just sort of a silly puppy dog so that you don't want to hurt their feelings and you don't put your foot down hard enough, and then they get away with more and more things. We started talking because as we practiced dancing night after night, of course you're going to talk with your partner, and I actually thought that he was a really nice guy. I thought that he might be actually a nice person for my mom to go out on a date with. I might tell this story wrong because it was a while ago and I have a fever, but I'm just going to do the best I can. So I think the first time I realized that he actually liked me, he started talking to me about relationships and what he was looking for and stuff, and I sensed that I might need to sort of misdirect him and just let him know that I was in no way interested. And usually talking to somebody about dating your mom would kind of give them the hint that you would not consider them. So I said that because I also wasn't sure if I was right in what I was sensing, which I always am. And also that's another thing, like most people, especially girls, you have intuition about this stuff and you have to trust it. I have given people the benefit of the doubt way too many times. So he said that, and I said, oh, yeah, I was actually thinking, you might be a good fit for my mom. And he said, oh, well, I'm actually looking for someone younger because my brother just had a child with his girlfriend, and, I never had a child for my whole life, and I never thought I could do it, and now I'm really looking to do that. And this was while we're dancing on, we're on the floor in the room practicing with everybody, and so basically he just like swatted my misdirection away and confirmed that not only was he interested in me, but he was interested in me as a potential mother for his child. So that was where I was just like, wow, this is extremely weird. So he was actually 40 years older than me. And lots of people fall in love over many differences, age differences being one of them. But it's not okay to presume that somebody who is 2 generations younger than you might want to have a kid with you just because they're at your tango class. I lent him a dancing movie because everyone in a group was talking about it. He hadn't seen it, and there was a great tango scene in it, so I lent it to him. And that, I think, sort of made him think, like, oh, I gotta go for it, because she, like, put this bait out there, or some crazy logic. It was kind of important for you to have your partner come to practice with you because it was sort of like an open dance and an instructor would help you. So if your partner didn't come, you would be alone. So he got my number so he could text me and call me and ask me when I was going to go and all of this. Then there was like a party that I didn't go to that was a tango party, and he was texting me and calling me about that, and I would go to class and he would walk out with me, keep me waiting for an extremely long time. The whole time he was extremely polite, and he never crossed any boundaries in terms of like physical boundaries that would make me feel extremely uncomfortable, and he never said anything like directly hitting on me. He always stayed in the gentlemanly area. I felt like this was too much for me. I wasn't sure what to do. I'd already tried to put him in the friend zone and he wouldn't take it every single time. He just wouldn't let me politely do that. And as a girl that was 22 and that really hadn't dealt with anything like this, basically like since I went to college I'd had a boyfriend, or I just hadn't been in these situations. I didn't know what to do, and so it finally got bad enough. I talked with my instructor, and it turned out that the guy had also been making one of the female instructors feel really uncomfortable. And probably that night after practice, we were all talking because everybody just talks at the end, and then it was clear that he kept waiting for me to walk out. And finally he walked out. Maybe I blew it off and I said like, oh, I'm going to talk to our instructor about something or whatever. So I got my instructor to walk me to I had a giant van. Basically, as I went to get into my van, out stepped the guy from in front of it. Like he was hiding behind it, waiting for me to get out there so that he could talk to me. And he's like, oh, I still have your movie, blah, blah, blah. And he just kept trying to use excuses to talk to me. And I was like, I'm getting freaking in the van because I'm in a dark parking lot right now. There's nobody here, and I'm getting in and I'm closing the door. And he just kept trying to talk to me. So that happened. I was extremely freaked. I talked to my instructor and I talked to my mom about what to do and stuff. And my instructor said that he was going to handle it. I don't know what my instructor actually said to him, but I don't think that he came back to our classes after that. However, he kept texting me, and he would call me, and I actually changed his name to whatever his name is, Tango, do not answer, because he would call. The final straw was after a while after this had happened, in the sort of small dance community that there is where I live, there are parties called milongas where you go and you dance tango, and it's extremely fun and it's really cool because you get to practice with all different people, and once you know the steps you can really just have a ball. And so I went to this, and he actually turned up because he knew that that event was happening because it wasn't just our small studio. And that was sort of the last straw for me that made me get really, really angry. And there was my instructor was kind of close to my age, and she was really cool, and she was really fed up with it too. So we just like drank wine and then we just danced together, and which everyone thought was really cool and maybe provocative because like everyone else was really old, and these two young girls were dancing tango together. But so yeah, we just did that because we didn't want to dance with him, and he had actually shown up there. And then he kept calling. He would call from different numbers so that I would answer because I didn't know it was him. And so finally one day I answered. I actually had started seeing my boyfriend that I wasn't seeing when I started there, but then I got back with him. So I had the excuse of saying I have a boyfriend, but I actually didn't use that because I think I really don't like it when people say, oh, why, you don't want to go out with me, you have a boyfriend? And to me it's just like, that is completely irrelevant because I don't want to go out with you because I don't like you. Nothing to do with my availability. So he called, I answered, and he was just basically just trying to ask me out, but also kind of like that really creepy where like they make you feel guilty for not being at different things or not answering and stuff. And he was like, so do you want to go get coffee or something like that. And it's just so hard to explain because it was a while ago, but people like this, they're so good with words. Like, they just make it where it's such a friendly situation that you saying no makes you the worst person ever, it feels like. Oh, I just had deja vu. This is weird. Because my last conversation with him was on the phone in my old bathroom, actually. He said, do you want to go get coffee? And I said, I was just like, oh, I'm going to have to do it, I'm going to have to do it. I know it sounds so stupid if you guys have gone through this, like, and you're at like a stronger stage in your life, you know, like, just tell them, just answer the phone and just tell them fuck off right there and just hang up the phone. But I had to get up so much strength just to say, I think I said like, no, I don't think I'm going to be doing that, or I don't think I can do that, or I don't think that's a good idea or something. And he said, oh, why, do you have a boyfriend, or is there someone else? And like, you could hear his voice just get like so, just change and like have an edge to it. And I said, no, I just don't want to do that. And then he very quickly got off the phone. I don't think that was the last time that he called. That was the very last time I answered. I think that this story can be helpful to you guys because I feel like this is the sort of thing that happens a lot. It's not this guy that just shows up, you know, dripping in blood with your pictures all over his wall. Even when you think about someone getting raped, you think, of course I wouldn't let that happen because I would know that situation and I would do all these certain things. But the thing is, when something like that's happening to you, you don't have experience with it and you don't really know how to react. And people who are on the predatory side of that, they often do have experience with it. They've definitely done this more than once, especially if they're an older guy that's creepy. They've been, I'm not saying even that they are a rapist or anything like that, but just being a creep. I mean, there's plenty of guys that never cross that line into doing something completely horrendous or breaking a law, but they just harass you. So what I want to give you guys, especially if you haven't gone through this, if you are young and you're just about to go to college or go off on your own or something like that, I want to give you a little bit of that fire that I felt when he came in to the Milonga that last time. And I went to the bar with my friend who was an amazing and strong woman and talented tango dancer. And, you know, looking back, of course, I would have just thrown the wine and probably the glass in his face when I saw him show up, but I didn't. But we went to the bar, we both got wine, and as I sipped it, I just felt like the wine, because you know how it kind of like warms you up a little bit when you drink it? I felt it like going through my veins, and I felt the anger and the power just going through my veins, like, this guy is too much. I want you guys all to have just a little bit of that fire in you, and you have to store it up, because when something like this happens, you also might not be angry enough, because it took me a really long time to get angry enough to be able to handle it. Most likely, they know what they're doing. They act like they don't because they know they can get away with it. And yeah, there are girls who say that people have done things that they haven't done, and that's extremely wrong. And I really wish that that didn't exist because it doesn't help anyone. But even if it's somebody you're just sitting next to on the bus, you're only going to be with them for 5 minutes, but they say something or they do something that just doesn't sit right with you. It's your body, it's your space, it's your life, and it's your right to protect it. And you really, most likely, are the only one who's going to protect it. And if somebody else does it for you, like people offered me in this situation, you're not going to have that strength that you would have from facing it yourself and knowing that you can in the future. So if it's something that seems out of your depth, always get help. Get your mom, get your dad with a shotgun, or your friend or whatever, to help you handle it. But if you think that it's a challenge that you can handle safely and you can call for backup if you need, handle it yourself as swiftly and strongly as you can. And I emphasize swiftly because I let this drag out way too long. I want to say people because I don't like generalizing with guys, but it's usually guys. A lot of people who put other people in this situation, they act like you doing something nice is giving them a sign, but that's also another lie that they're telling you, because you feel bad because you think that, oh, well, they like me because they think I meant something more than friends because I was talking to them or because I lent them a movie or whatever. But that's just a lie that they're telling to get you more confused so that they can continue their lie. You can even write down a couple of different little lines that can help you with these scenarios. I know it sounds stupid, but when it comes up, you're just at a loss and you're just like, I mean, I just remember just dancing with him and working it out in my brain because I was so naive, just working it out like a 63-year-old man wants me to be his girlfriend and have a baby with me. Like, it sounds crazy. It even sounds crazy just for me to say to somebody else because I'm like, is there any margin for me to be wrong in this situation? Like, could I have read it wrong? Because it just sounds crazy, but that is what it is. I know there's a stereotype of pretty girls are bitches. I only started understanding why that's a stereotype in the past few years as I've learned that I actually have to let myself come across as a bitch to people sometimes, and it's frustrating, but people are very stupid, and especially if you're out at a club or a bar where people are looking to pick somebody up, they will just assume that you just smiling means you want to talk to them. If you don't want to spend your entire night talking to somebody that you really don't like, you learn that the easiest way is just to have a bitch face or just to not smile at them. You don't owe people anything, and just because they think you look good, you don't owe them anything. Just because they say hi or they smile, you really don't owe them anything. And if you want to go out on a Friday or Saturday and you want to get dressed up to the nines or whatever, you don't owe anybody the time of day, and you only have to talk to them if you want to. Also, just another quick thing about safety, because one of my beloved viewers sent me a picture of the stickers that I sent, but it had a picture of her address on the envelope, which I obviously already had because James wrote the address, but I didn't want to tweet it out with her address. So I've been lucky because my dear friend Allie, she has been into vlogging longer than I have, and because she had a really big channel and she had her own experiences with needing to protect her address and her identity, I learned right away as I started not to show things that are too close to your house. Or Shay Carl said on a panel at VidCon that when they first started, they showed their mail, they showed outside their house, they just showed everything because they just didn't know. So I've been very lucky that as I've been building my channel, I already have learned from other people's experiences. But it really doesn't matter if you have 1 million subscribers or if you just casually browse YouTube, you know, every Friday. Don't put your stuff online. People are creepy. It only takes one person. All it takes is that one person wanting to know what time you leave the gym or what Starbucks is closest to your house or whatever, to find out. That's really all it takes, and to make you hate yourself for having to put that on there. So now, my mom used to lecture us like when MySpace first came out and I wasn't allowed to have one, and somehow my little sister got one and I didn't. But she would lecture us about putting our personal stuff online and make us be really careful, and now it's like a whole other world. I mean, like Instagram just tags you, can tag your location automatically, and just all kinds of stuff like that. So please just be extremely careful when you're doing that, and please don't believe that anyone is what they say they are. I mean, you can take a picture of my face right now and make it your profile picture. So please just be safe in general, and this sort of topic is something that I'm really, really passionate about, so I hope that this answered some questions for you guys and gave you a little extra dose of confidence. If there are any questions that you have, I would definitely love to do a part 2 of this video, or just general, like, growing up in college-esque questions. So please leave them in the comments because I want to make this as informative to you guys as I can. So I hope that was interesting. I'm trying to have energy and trying to have a voice while I'm totally losing it right now. So I hope you guys will check out the clay mask video that I just uploaded today. You can see it right here. For a totally different subject. Just remember, you never, in your entire life, you never are required to be pretty, you're never required to be nice, and you're never required to be sweet. So just remember, you don't owe that to anyone, and you can be loud and scary and ugly and horrible and whatever you have to do in order to get the space that you need for your life. Don't forget to follow me on all my various social media links. You can see it all below in the information box. I love to see you guys. I hope you guys know that by now. I genuinely love hearing from you. So I really hope this helps, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.